Jai Millennium, dear facilitators. It's your special day today where you, the Guru, is being facilitated and acknowledged for all that you do every day. I'm sure you've been a great teacher every day of your life. So you need to be sitting back today and basking in the glory of it. While you relax and enjoy your day, do spend a few minutes to introspect and revisit the purpose of your role of being a teacher. In my 33 years in the field of education, there are more lessons I learned inside a classroom, watching some great teachers like you, than I ever learned in my B.ED or M.ED classes. Today, I'd like to share 5 great lessons I learned inside a classroom watching all of you. The first lesson that I learned was, and what the B.EDs do not teach us, is how to educate the heart and mind and not cram the brain. Remember, it is not only the skill of teaching content that is important, but the art of connecting with the child emotionally that takes precedence. It is always the EQ before the IQ that is important. Classrooms that show the highest success rate in the terms of knowledge are those that have teachers that connect to every child through a special way. Just like we have a different approach in our homes when we deal with our family, children, friends and relatives, we need to have the same approach in our classrooms, because each child comes to school with a different frequency level. You know, no learning can happen if we do not first address the emotions or energy level of the child. I know each one of you sitting there would be thinking right now that it is easier said than to do this. But I have seen some fabulous teachers who enter the classroom with such fabulous energy levels, and they spend the first 5 minutes of the class making the children comfortable, de-stressing them, and opening their hippocampus to learn. To ensure that you can all do the same, the Millennium learning system has created more than 8,000 3 to 5 minute EQ strategies that you know of, and they are called DOL, or the Dimension of Learning. And that has been done to help you and the children to be on the same frequency level when you begin your class. The second important learning that I've had, and that has happened inside the classrooms, is that every child is unique and different. Each child has its own aspirations and thought process and is gifted with something or the other. Yet unfortunately, we club them together and teach them the same thing in the same way and expect the same result. Nature has created each one of us differently, yet we fail to follow this in our classrooms. I'm sure you teachers of the Millennium are impacting children by looking at each child's uniqueness and celebrating each one for it. This approach results in every child being a winner. To ensure that this happens, Millennium Learning System has inculcated the WARC approach to learning, which you know as the visual, auditory, reading and writing and kinesthetic way of learning, so that every child can learn through his or her unique way. The third learning that I've had in the classrooms and watching children, and of course the B.ED has not taught me this, is to know the difference between imparting information and knowledge. We tend to believe that the content we are teaching in a class is giving knowledge. When we ask children questions like where was Akbar born, or how much is 250 multiplied by 850, or how does the process of evaporation take place, we're only providing information to our children. Knowledge is when the same information is used effectively and is used for deeper understanding and applied in our life. For example, instead of us constantly asking children just where Akbar was born, it would be great if the children could learn that the place that Akbar is born can now become a tourist spot, and how can they make it? Or how can they think of generating employment in a place that Akbar had once made prosperous and make it look like that? Remember, learning to apply information to improve the world is true education. That is why Millennium Learning System ensures that every child in your class is able to apply the information learned and translate it into the real life. And this is done through the projects or the apprentice manual. The fourth learning I have had, and this has been a great learning for me, is that the marks you leave in the life of a student is more important than the marks you leave on their paper. You know, the definition of success does not mean marks in subject. In the pursuit of completing the syllabus, we tend to focus more on the outcome, which is exams and marks oriented. You know, we forget the process through which we need to achieve this. You know, Lord Krishna talks of this in the Bhagavad Gita, where he says, just keep doing your duty, don't worry about the outcome. He's talking about the process. If your process is fine in the classrooms, you're not worried about preparing children for the university, but preparing and making them ready for the universe, where we are allowing children to critically think, introspect, sharpen their skills. You will find that every child is bound to be successful. You know, every school in and around our neighborhood is in the fight to prepare children en masse for a particular field. And parents feel very proud when they say, you know, my child has been selected for IIT or an IIM. Of course, something to be definitely proud of. But it is time that all millennials, all children in our school take a bigger leap. When I say take a bigger leap, it means our children need to be innovative, be inventive, be independent individuals, and pursue their passion and build something on their own. And once they build something on their own, they should stand out and say, you know what? In my company, I hire all IIMs or IITs. What is more powerful, to say that I come from IIM or IIT, or to say that I hire IITs and IIMs? Let's work towards that. And to ensure that such a thing happens, Millennium Learning System emphasizes on building skills every day through their activities. And remember, we torture you, quote unquote, through teaching strategies. But that is why we do it, because we want the process of learning to be amazing and beautiful for our children. The fifth and the most important learning that I have witnessed and seen inside classrooms is that there is no child that who hates reading, writing or learning. It is only that they are reading the wrong book or writing at the wrong time, or that they are being forced to learn. Have you ever seen the keenness in which a child first looks at a picture? Have you seen how their hands feel it? Have you witnessed how that picture leads to further questioning? You know, the zeal to learn exists, but we unfortunately blunt it. We forget to allow the law of nature to take its course. We forget that everybody learns at their own pace. You know, for example, if Obama can retire at the age of 55 as the US president, and Modi can become the Prime Minister at his 70s, then why cannot our children be allowed to work at their own pace? Millennium Learning System believes that learning should be based on developmental milestones, and there is a sequential way of learning, yet every child will learn. I know many of you will say that, you know, whatever I'm saying doesn't resonate with the parent community that you are in, and that you are unfortunately part of a larger education system that is conventional. Dear facilitators, it is time for you to stand up on this day and take a pledge to educate both the parents and the authorities that you are doing a great job. You're changing the life of your children for a great future tomorrow. If you, great facilitators, don't impact and change the world, then who will? I'm sure I'm leaving you with enough to introspect on the way we teach and learn in our schools. You, my dear teachers, are the embodiment of a guru, and no matter what anyone tells you, you play the most significant part in the life of the child. Every day, the emotional mark you leave is profound and lifelong. And every good deed you do in the class with your child actually increases your karma balance. So feel blessed to be part of this beautiful profession and enjoy your day today and the life ahead of you. So happy Teachers Day and have a great journey ahead. Jai Millennium.